Now let's create our new file. I will name it connect database. Connect database. And this will be in the front end. And here we'll start coding for our database window. For that, we will need to import Tkinter. So write from Tkinter import all. This will import everything from the Tkinter library. Now create a class. I will name it connect database. The naming conventions will be camel case, like the first starting letters will be capital, and then another word connecting them will be capital, and the other remaining will be smaller. So now let's define our init function. This is basically a special method of classes in Python that initiates the program, or that initiates that classes. It's also called initializing. In another programs, it's also called constructor. They have their constructor, and this is also like constructor, but uh, it is called as the special method in Python. If you don't even write this, the program, this class will run. But internally, the init function is called. But when we need to pass an argument, we need to define the init function. So we will ask one window, and then we will create another variable window, and this will be the variable for classes. This class, like connect database class. So within this class, we can access this variable using self. That is a special there's a special variable defined in. So self equals to we will assign those value that we get from our argument, and then we'll define our the geometry of a window, like what size of window you want. I will show you how the size differ. For now, my window size, I want to create the full size, full screen size. So the window size is 1366 into 720 pixel. So I will write self dot window dot geometry, and I will pass the value in within string that will be 1366, and then it will be x, not multiply. It will be x 720. And this plus 0, if you wonder what does this plus 0 works, like this 3066 the width of this screen, and the 720 pixels is the height of this screen, and the 0 pixels is from where the x-axis, which at what pixel of the x-axis this window should start. So this is from 0 pixels, then 0 and 0 pixels in both x and y axis. Then this code, and then this window will pop up at this corner. So now let's define title, window dot title. This will be basically the title that we saw in the top of the window. So this will be database connection form. If you want to show icons like this PC, the PyCharm is here, so you need to provide things like self dot window dot icon bitmap, and then we will pass the location or path of that image or icons. So for now, I will give icon.ico, and make sure the image is in the form of ICO, as the Windows doesn't understand another, that it doesn't allow us to be the icons of another extension. So make sure it is that ICO file. And for now, I haven't created the ICO file, so I will keep this commented. Yeah, as you know, the comment, we can comment any line using control and forward slash. So now let's create an object. As you can see, this connect database is class. Until you make object, this will not work. That it is just a blueprint. But to work with that, you will need to define an object. You will need to create an object, and then in that object, this init functions is asking an argument. So we will need to provide one argument. In our case, it will be a tk, that it will provide a window, and this is a preview to Tkinter. So now let's create. I will name it like anything you can name. Like I will name it window. Window equals to tk. Make sure this is it might be this is a class, so it will be open close bracket here. So now in another, let's create an object. I'm not passing the reference variable here. A reference variable is something that that the return value will be stored, but I'm not creating a reference variable that this class is not returning anything. So we don't need to store anything. So we don't need a reference variable here. So we'll directly call it's something like calling the functions, but internally it's creating an object. So it's asking us arguments, so we'll provide this window, as this is our window that the Tkinter provides. So now, if you run this program, what do you think? Will this work? Now let's see. Oh, so this doesn't work because the window doesn't seem to be here, but it was created, but it doesn't seem. So for that, the Tkinter provides us with the loop, so that display will be consistently refreshing on our eye. So that was window dot main loop. Okay. Now let's run this file. Will this run? Yeah. So our first window is created and it's running. So now, as you can see here, it's now resizable, right? So one can resize this, but our program will not be mobile responsive. So if you resize this, the contents here will be hide. So to avoid that, we'll make this window non-resizable, and to do that, we will write code self dot window dot resizable 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 is the spelling right? I think it's okay, so it's right. So the resizable asks two arguments, whether it will be true or it will be false. So if you keep true and true, one is for x-axis and another is for y-axis. If you keep this true and true, then if you run this, it still the windows can be resized here. You can see it is resizable. But if you put false here, and then if you run this program, you can see at one side the window is resizable, but another side this window is not resizable. So in order to not to let a user resize from the height 2, we will make this argument false. Now let's check. So we cannot resize this window. The resizable icon is missing here. Hide. So for now, we have created our window. Another problem I remember that the one problem that we might face is like we have created our object here, right? And we are calling this object whenever this file is run. But when we'll have a multiple modules like .py files from where we will be calling each other. So it will be in the loop that one will ask another to open, then another will ask another to open, and this will throw an error. So to avoid that, we will create a function. Let's define function. I will name it Windows, and I will place this code here, and I will call this function. But wait, will it works now? It will not. That they will not understand. It is something similar that we was doing previously. For that, we will need to create a special if condition, that is main method. If underscore underscore name underscore underscore is equals to main, it means that if this window is main file where the file is being executed, then run this function here. And if this window is not main, if it is if it is calling from another module or another file, then please don't run it. This means something like if you have if from init functions, if you are calling our this connect database, the class, this class, then don't run it. But when I run it from here, then please run this code. So this works like this. If you don't write this, it will not throw in any error for a while, but while working in another file, you may need to comment out, and often you may need to comment and uncomment this. So to avoid this hassle, I will recommend to use this name equals to main statements. Now we have our window ready, but it doesn't looking like this. So what we need to do is we will need this background color and this background images. For now, we can say if we are working in Tkinter, so we will name this as a label. So this label image is created using Photoshop. So you will need a Photoshop application. If you don't have, you can buy, or you can rent somewhere. It depends on you. So for now, I have Photoshop, so I will open this Photoshop. Till then, I urge you to open Photoshop downloads. We can pause this video. I will open my Photoshop here. Photoshop is open. Now this is my previous images that I am using here. Right? It is similar to this. You can see what things I have created in Photoshop and what sort of things I have created using Tkinter. Like you can see the difference. Like icons I have placed using Photoshop. This is not placed in Tkinter. It will increase the line of code. But this is a static things. Even we can use the host name, but I have kept it dynamic. Like we can change this from code. We don't have to change the images at all. So for that, I have created for input line, and then using the Tkinter, I have make the input transparent, and we have created one one heading that is connected at this that will be in the loop. So we will be creating four labels: host name, port, username, and password. And then these buttons are again created with Photoshop. So we'll not be working with Tkinter anymore to create this button. We will just assigning or in the label of the button. So now let's create please let me know in the comment if you want these designs to be made in Photoshop from the scratch, or I can share this Photoshop. Obviously, I will share this Photoshop file with you in every videos, but this will be if I will create these images from scratch, it will be very time consuming. For now, I will using my existing Photoshop file for. And if you want to, if you feel uncomfortable using the file, then you can comment down below, and I will be creating these designs from scratch in the next video. So please let me know in the comment down below. Now, if we create these designs, we can save these designs in our file. For me, I will save my Photoshop directory. Here I will name connect database frame, and this will be like PNG file. So I will save this, and you can see I have this frame ready to use. So I will need these images in the directory where I'm working right now. So I'm working in this tutorial modern GUI in front end. So I will create one file here, folder here. I will name it as images, and inside these images are all images that we'll be using will be placed here. So I will also upload these PNG files too, so that you'll not, if you don't have Photoshop, you can learn how we code it. So now let's place these photos, these designs in our Tkinter file. In order to process images, the Tkinter needs an external library that is below, and we import it as PIL. So now we will need to install this below. So for me, it's already satisfied, but for you, it might not. So you can write pip install below, and then this will be installed in your interpreter. After this is installed, we can import this using line from PIL import image tk. This will be capital image tk. Sorry. Now let's create our on one variable from where we will store this image. This will work like we will be creating one variable. We will ask that variable to store this image, and then we will create one label, and we will assign those label in window. Okay, so the image we will be using will be our the image that we will store in our variable. So first of all, let's define the self dot login. Sorry, it's not login frame. So now we can use this word database frame. Okay, so the self dot database frame equals to image. In order to process this image, we will need to use this library that we have just imported. So image tk dot photo image, and then we will provide the path of this file. So this will be like file equals to image tk dot photo image, and then files equals to, we will give the path of the image. So image, and then make sure you provide the double backslash in order to not to let this interpreter confused about this is the path or this is the separation. So if you use a double backslash, then this will be treated as path. So I will name this connect database frame as we have images right here. So I will place it here. Now let's create one label. I will name that save dot image panel. That will be our image list. And I will just I'm just naming it. You can name whatever you want. So our this will be our label, and in this label will be uh, placed in our window. This label will be placed in our window, and we will provide this as an image, and that we have just stored in our database frame. Now we will pack this image in our background image, and that will be self.image panel.pack. And this pack function required argument fill equals to where you want to fill. I want to fill in the both side, and then expand equals to yes. So now let's see if it is working or not. So it's not working. So what do we have to do right now? Let's see. I went through this error. I don't know what was happening or what is happening right now. The error is still persisting, but when I created the when I created this slider text here, then this error is gone. Like, let me show you. After I click this, after I create this, the error doesn't come. I don't know if you have any idea, then you can comment down below. I will look onto it and will let you know what was happening before we will create this. So let's start by creating our this text. This just we have done. There's a running text here. So now for this, let me delete this. I've just created this. Now I will delete it. For that, we will need to define. We'll need to create one variable that will store the string that we'll place in that label. So let's define one variable self dot text. I will name this text equals to connect database, and then this the counter will be basically it will be used to it will be using we'll be using this to create a loop. So let's define one count variable and name this with 0. And again, when we will when this text string will be in loop, we will have to store this to another variable. So we will create this variable to empty variable with empty string variable to store those values that we get from the while looping. So now let's make a list of color that we can use. You may use a lot color, whatever, however you want. I will give one black. blue, red, anything. And then now let's make one variable or label. I will name it heading, and this will be a label using Tkinter. This will be placed in our self.window. That is our window that pop-ups when we run this file. We will place this heading onto that window, and then the text will be uh, the text that we have just created, like the connect database here. This will be the text. And also, let's provide this font. I often use UIU. I often use YU Gothic UI font as it looks minimal. I will give this size 30, 32, 30. I will give this size 30. This will be bold. Okay, and then the background color will be white. I'm keeping this background white because our in our, as you can see here, in our images the background is white, so to make this look transparent we need to use the background color white, so that we are using background white. And again the foreground will be black for now. Foreground color will be black for now. And then the border, if you wish to give the border you can. So the border will be 5 pixel and the design will be flat. Leaf equals to flat. There are other, like if you click control plus space you can see flat here. Now let's place this heading in our window. Dot place. For now I will be using place for every elements that we will be using here. I will place it to x equals to, in the x-axis from 470 pixels, and in y-axis I will be placing to 40 pixels, and the width will be around 450 pixels. Then after this is set, we will call slider. We will create another method slider, and then we will call them. We'll call slider, from where we will look at text and we'll change the color. So for color we'll define another method. So we'll call slider here, and then to change the color of that text we will call another method that will name. So now let's create our method. Let's define method slider. And the self, obviously if you are creating a method, the self will be passed, otherwise it will throw an error. So now if the self that counter, that the counter is greater, the counter is greater or equals to the length of that text, that is the text. Let's see, I will show you how this works. Now if self dot this count is greater or equals to self dot text, self dot text, self dot text, length of that self dot text, then we will do increment or decrement. can guess that what we will do. We are shifting from back to front, okay? So we will be decrementing the count. So self dot count will be -1, and the self dot text will be, and after this we will configure the heading. Right now we have till here we have a static heading that to connect database here or something, just showing in the static way. But in order to create this in the loop, we will need to configure that heading, and we can configure by writing self.heading.configure or configure whatever you want. So I will be using config, and then text equals to self.text. So the text will be in this text variable, and the one text will be copied from this txt files, and then this will show in our heading. Else now self dot text equals to self dot text plus self dot another txt, that is count. Here what is happening, the self dot text is actually incrementing the like we have count 0, then this will this the text will be incrementing this with like if we have C, and then this will get O, then it will get connect N, and this will add it in the loop. So self dot heading dot configure, and again self dot text, and again we will increment this counter. Now we will increment this counter with 1. Now let's make this, let's call this in the recursive function like self.heading. After 100 milliseconds, this function will automatically call itself. Like after 100 milliseconds, now call self.slide, and we will not provide the parenthesis here, and it will run when this code is executed. It will be run twice. So code actually runs like this. Like if we have self dot count is greater than the length of self dot text, like we can see here, the count is 0. And if we have right, if self dot count is greater or equals to self dot text, the text is also 0, so this condition is satisfied here, then the self dot count will be -1. This 0 becomes -1, and then this self dot text is left blank, and then this blank text is shown in the heading. Else, if now again this if condition, after this will again increment this, and then -1, after that -1 it will become the counter will be 1 or 0. Let's see. I think we'll run this, and then we'll make it clear. I think it's something is missing here, so let's see if it works or not. So now after then if the else part is executed here, and then the self.text will get like if the self.text got it's empty right now, right? And then it will get the self.text like we have self.text connect database here, and it will get the first, if the counter is 0, then this will get the first index of that value, and then it will assign that, it will show this in our heading, and it will again increment that +1. And after, when this line of code is executed, it will do something like this. If self.head, sorry, self.header.after means after every 100 milliseconds, please rerun this function or this method, and again after every 100 milliseconds, it will run this. In 1 second, it will run 10 times. So now, in for we can you just comment this here, and then let's see what. Okay, so the error is dictionary update sequence element hashtag 0 has 1 or 2 is required. So let's see where, from where this line number 54. So from here to 50, and then in 22, and then in 22. So the error is let's see, the dictionary update sequence element. I made a mistake, like here. We have to compare this counter with the text in this original text, but we was comparing this with the loop was not working perfectly. I assume that this was. So for now, when we run this again, the error is persisting. So let's figure it out. If the count is greater or equals to length of self.text, and then the self.text equals to empty, then configure it with the self.text, else self.text equals to self.text plus self.text into count heading.config self.text, and then we will incrementing to every 100 seconds. So the error is in the line 22. Okay, so let's see the error. So what he the text. Okay, so the error is like we need to define this text equals to self.text. Now let's run this. Hope it will run. Okay, so another error. So what is the error? Let's debug this. Like from line 61, the code flows with line 61, then this goes into line 57, and then in line 24, we don't have error till here, and then in line 36, it goes here, line 36, and the error is unknown option C. Okay, so self.config. So what we are configuring here, like we need to define this here to text. So these two things was missing. So now let's run this. Okay, our design, our structure is ready. Now we need to place the label here, and then the input field here. For that, let's create another variable. First of all, we'll create the label, the upper label, and that is the host. So after heading color, we can comment here can comment here, declare labels. Okay. Now within this, sorry, not here. Let's create it here. It will not conflict here for us. So after, okay, so I didn't show you this. After we call this heading color, this will change, like the blue and the red and the black, and you don't see yellow here, right? But let's add the color yellow. You will see yellow color blinking there. This it's, so keep here the cool color that this is so the color that we had used are like as this 4F of F4 F sorry 4F 4E 4F 4E and 4D, and another color was F2 and 9 F2 9844 to 9844, and another was I think a red 2. So let's delete this yellow color and then run. So you can see here our color. Basically, this color was from this the background color, so it doesn't seem too much striking here. Now let's find now let's create our label. So that after heading color, we will comment or we'll paste it here. Now I will create a variable named self.variable1. Okay, so for we are creating label for host, so I will name it host label equals to label, and this will be placed in our window, and the text will be host. Okay? Host or host name, anything, host name, and the background color obviously should be white, otherwise it will not look good. So the foreground color, and to make this minimal, I have used the custom grace color like 4F 4E and FD 4F, sorry, 4F 4E and 4D. Okay, so the font is basically, we can copy this, but we don't need to keep this 30 pixels, it's way bigger. And now place this label self dot post label dot place. Placing works with pixels. If you provide x equals to 495 pixels, then it will place this host name at the left, like x-axis, in the x-axis 495 pixels from x, and the axis starts in this corner, like this is x-axis and this is y-axis. So if you give 495 pixels, then it will keep this around here. So let's give y2. Y-axis will be 130. Let's see if that works. Now run this. You can see here. So the host name is perfectly aligned here. Now let's copy this. However, we will not be using, we will not be coding a lot. We will be copy pasting. Basically, we will copy pasting each other. So now for For that, we will also need we forget to mention this. Uh, we need an we need the input field here, right? So for that, let's create an input field for host level, and then we will create another label. So the entry field will be like self dot host. Name this like host entry. Okay, host entry equals to entry. This is how we take input from user in Tkinter, and then self dot window, and we can like the thickness color. There are like highlight border or something like we. First of all, let's just do that, and let's give relief. So after we place this in the window, we'll provide this relief equals to flat, and then the background color will be white. So equals to white. Background color will be white, and the foreground color we don't need to keep this foreground color. Or yeah, we have to like if we write in the input field, it will be so foreground color. So let's give it a gray color like 6 will be the 6B, 6A, and 6A. It will be a gray color, so a gray something like light gray color. And then we can also give this font. You can adjust it according to your needs. So this will be around, and this bold will be little odd, so I'll give this same bold, and this will be 12 pixels. Okay. So now we need to place these two. Okay, so self dot host entry dot place. The pack will not work with place. Only place and the grid work together, and the pack will work only if it is like we used in the background of this video. So this place this in x equals to around 530. Like this is 495 pixels. So this will there was icon in between this. So we are shifting this some pixels like 35 pixels from left to right, and then the y will be around 165 or 63. That will be fine. Okay, so the width will be 380 pixels. So now this one. Okay, so the semi bold is not working. Okay, so in entry field, I think this works with like this semi bold. I think it will work. Okay, so we have our input field. Okay, okay. So now let's copy this whole statement. Like we will delete this. Let's copy this too. This is our host label and entry. The commenting it will make you easier to debug the code if you have to do. So now let's paste this here. We'll need 4, so let's paste 4 times. And after host, we will have a port. Okay, so port, and then what do we have? We have username and password. So name it username, username and password. So now just change here everything. Like if we if we hold alt and then click to this click here, then it will automatically select this all, and then you can delete and uh, enter the name at the same time, so it will make the coding faster. So and instead of the host, we will need to give username, okay, and instead of this host, again we will need to give this password. So now we just have to do is to place. So now let's place the port where we have to place it. So for now, the x-axis for all of this will be same, because we don't want to shift anything from x-axis to right or left. We just want to align that all elements at the same place. So we will just need to change the y-axis, how much gapping we need. So for a port, it will be around 225, and for entry it will be around 253, and again the width and other thing, everything will be same. Now let's see, is it working? So we are okay, so this will be also changed. Like we change the variable, but we didn't change this host name that the label is showing. So like for port, first of all, let's change this port. Okay. Now for entry 2, it's working for us. We have changed this. Like this is also okay. This also okay. Now the host name and the port is working perfectly. Now for username, let's again change this text to username here, and just change this password here. Okay, so now let's again change the placing of y-axis of username, and it will be I am using the calculated value so that the time will not be consuming, so you can adjust it. So for the username, it's placed at 318, I think 318, and the y-axis for entry is 340. You can basically see the differences in between these two, and according to this you can configure this to another remaining items. So for password, we have 410, and for password entry field we have 440. So now you can see, like, we have hostname, port, username, and the password. Our field forms are ready. Now we'll need to place the button here, and for that we'll need to create again a button. For now I will be using the button that I have already created, and again I will make you remember, like if you need to understand how I created in Photoshop, then you can comment below. And I'm not doing right now because the coding and the video length will be longer if I will create the button or the designs in Photoshop from scratch. So if you need this, please do let me know in the comment section below. Now let's again place the button. So I will copy 3 buttons, like we have submit button and login button and the exit button. So I will not be working with the web database right now. We will be using we'll work on this after sometimes when we will using backend. So for now I will just create these 3 buttons. So I will copy the image. Like, let me go in the Explorer. So in the front end we have images. So the buttons were submit button. So let's go to the submit where we have exit button here, and then we'll need login button, and then we will need submit button. So again, the where is submit button. So here it is. So I'll copy this. I will paste this here, and we have this right now. So we can use this in our project. Now after this, we can comment here like placing button or something. We can write it around. To submit button, again we will need a label of. Firstly, we'll need an variable like self dot submit for submit. Just I will import that image, or I will make it render that, store that image using image tk dot photo image, and file equals to images plus, that is submit submit.png. Okay, so this is working now. This self dot submit button, I will create now button. The self dot submit button equals to button, and we will place this button in self dot window. That is our main window right now, and then we will provide this image, that is self dot submit. We have just imported these images, and now we don't need to provide any font styles to this. So we'll need like we will provide this area like if leaf equals to flat, and now let's see how it looks. So first of all, let's place this self dot submit button dot place x equals to 500 and y equals to 520. Now let's run this. Now we have our button. So but as you can see here, this active color is black and this background color is uh, looking odd, and there is one border like grace border here. So we need to remove that too. For that, there's a we will have to pass argument, that is the border width. Like there is border now, so if you pass the border width equals to 0, I think this border will remove. As you can see, the border with 0, but also there is one tiny here like line. So that is that is okay. So let's give the background color, that is because of our image. So if you give this background color, sorry, background equals to white. Now let's see if it is. showing or not? Okay, so background, it will be background. Okay, so this is removed, right? So when we click in this, as you can see here, when we click this, it is showing another color on the back, right? So to remove that, we have a background, active background statements, like we have active background will give white, comma, as you can see, that is removed. So we have to make this more interactive, like you can you just this pointer is showing if we hover over it or not. So we can change this to our the like hand. It's not here. So like if you want to show hand, then you can set cursor equals to hand and two. Okay, and so now you can see it is showing like hand. Okay, so it's working. So I'm not configured what after action will be taken if this button is clicked. So we will be working in this in another tutorials that will come in the future. So now for now I will copy this all again, and now again we have three, so I will paste this three times. Okay, so I will change this name to submit, and then after then login, I will name this to login here. Here, sorry, here. I will name this log. Okay, and here too we have to give login png, and here, 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 here. I'm using Alt key and then click to select multiple cursors. Okay, so we can give this name exit. The error is gone. Now we have to place this, and again now we don't want to change the y-axis, like we don't want to change this alignment. We just want to change how in the column it will be looking. So we will work with x-axis. So we will increase this x-axis by 140. Like this is 500, so we can give 640 and again 780. So yeah, it's working, but you look, it's looking upward, so we can make it a little down. It will okay, so 80, it will be 80. So we have to change x-axis to make this 523. So it's still not aligned with this. We can increase this. Oh, sorry, I am increasing the exit button. Okay, so this button and this button and exit button also needs to be increased from x-axis, sorry, y-axis. Okay, so now the line is aligned perfectly. As you can see, we have created our first window to connect database. We created label, we created heading, and we designed how this animated heading will look like. And then we created button using Photoshop, and then we placed this button into that. So thank you so much for being till here, and have a good day.